My beloved child, pause wherever you are in this moment and know that heaven has orchestrated your arrival here with divine precision. This is not coincidence. This is not accident. This is the sacred intersection of your seeking heart and my reaching hand, meeting in this exact breath where transformation begins without warning and miracles unfold without announcement. Pause. I see you. Not just the face you show the world, but the hidden chambers of your heart where hope and fear dance in delicate balance. I see the dreams you've tucked away in quiet corners, believing perhaps their season had passed. I see the prayers you whispered when exhaustion made your voice tremble and faith felt like holding water in open hands. Today, heaven responds with thunder to what you offered in whispers. Your destiny is not approaching from some distant horizon. It is activating in this very moment, like seeds that waited beneath frozen ground through endless winter, now breaking through into spring with unstoppable urgency. Feel that stirring in your spirit. That flutter of anticipation rising unbidden in your chest. That is recognition. Your soul knows what your mind has not yet fully grasped. Everything is shifting. Everything is aligning. Everything is preparing to bloom. Pause. My precious one, I have watched you carry weights that would have crushed others long ago. I have seen you smile through seasons when your heart was breaking, choosing kindness when bitterness would have been easier, choosing faith when doubt pounded at every door of your mind. Heaven recorded each moment of quiet courage. Angels documented each tear that fell unseen. And today, the harvest of your hidden faithfulness begins manifesting in ways that will leave you breathless with wonder. Financial doors sealed by circumstances beyond your control are swinging open with sudden ease. Resources flow toward you through channels you never knew existed, carried by divine currents that bypass normal systems and accelerate beyond natural timelines. Debts that loomed like mountains begin dissolving like mist before morning sun, not through your striving but through grace activating legal rights in heavenly courts where your faithfulness testified on your behalf. Pause. I know the loneliness that walked beside you when others could not understand the path you were called to walk. When your obedience to unseen realities cost you relationships, opportunities, and comfortable places where compromise would have purchased temporary peace. Today I release soul family into your atmosphere. Divine connections that recognize heaven's mark upon your life and join their strength to yours without competition or jealousy. People who see your calling and celebrate rather than threaten. People who understand your language because they speak the same dialect of faith forged through similar fires. Relationships wounded by misunderstanding begin experiencing supernatural healing as grace softens hardened positions and forgiveness flows where resentment had built walls of stone. Family members who distanced themselves reach out with unexpected humility. Friendships that faded through seasons of silence experience resurrection, returning with depth that shallow connections never possessed. Pause. My courageous heart, your physical body is responding to heaven's frequency even as you receive these words. Cells remember their original design before stress and sorrow corrupted their blueprint. Chronic conditions that you accepted as permanent companions begin losing their grip as supernatural restoration accelerates beyond medical expectation. Energy returns in waves, replacing the fatigue that became so familiar you forgot what vitality felt like. Sleep deepens into true rest where your spirit receives downloads of wisdom and your body experiences regeneration that defies natural aging. Feel that lightness spreading through your frame. That is not imagination. That is tangible evidence that heaven's healing touch has found you in this sacred moment, beginning processes that will continue unfolding day after day until strength marks your countenance as living testimony of divine intervention. Pause. Your mind is clearing of fog that accumulated through seasons of confusion and overwhelm. Decisions that seemed impossibly complex suddenly reveal clear pathways as divine guidance illuminates next steps with unmistakable clarity. Creative solutions arrive fully formed for problems that consumed your energy in fruitless wrestling. Ideas flow like spring rivers breaking through winter ice, carrying innovation and inspiration that positions you far ahead of where natural progression would have placed you. Business ventures receive angelic strategy that bypasses years of struggle, connecting you with clients and opportunities through miraculous alignments that no networking could manufacture. Career paths that seemed blocked by glass ceilings shatter under the weight of favor too heavy for human resistance. Employers, supervisors, and gatekeepers find themselves advocating for your advancement without understanding the divine compulsion moving their hearts. Pause. My faithful intercessor, your prayer closet warfare activated angelic armies you never saw but always felt hovering at the edges of your spiritual perception. Those midnight hours when you contended for breakthrough while the world slept were not wasted breaths into empty darkness. They were strategic strikes against principalities that held your blessing in contested territory. Today, angels return carrying spoils from victories secured through your persistent faith. Generational patterns that plagued your family lineage for decades begin breaking under authority released through your covenant standing. Cycles of addiction that claimed ancestors find their power severed. Patterns of poverty that restricted your parents and grandparents lose their legal right to touch your children. Curses spoken in ignorance or malice over your bloodline dissolve like salt in warm water as blessings stored since Abraham activate for your obedience. Pause. I see your children and grandchildren, those present and those yet to come. Divine protection surrounds them like invisible fortress walls as angels take positions around their schools, their relationships, their decisions. Wisdom manifests in their choices beyond their years while influences meant to destroy them mysteriously lose access to their lives. Academic barriers crumble as comprehension unlocks and learning flows with supernatural ease. They carry mantles of purpose that your faithfulness purchased, inheriting spiritual authority that will mark their generation with kingdom impact.
Your home is becoming sanctuary space where peace reigns so tangibly that visitors comment on its atmosphere before understanding its source. Anxiety loses permission to breathe within walls consecrated by your worship. Fear finds no foothold in rooms where scripture has been declared and presence has been welcomed. Angelic guardians stand watch at every doorway and window, sealing your dwelling from darkness that roams seeking entry into vulnerable places. Property values increase beyond market trends as favor rests upon ground you've watered with faithful prayers. Vehicles receive protection covering every commute and journey, arriving safely through traffic that should have delayed and weather that should have hindered. Technology cooperates during crucial moments as if invisible hands steady systems and strengthen connections precisely when failure would have cost you most. Pause. My surrendered vessel, I know how you've questioned whether your small offerings mattered in a world that celebrates spectacular achievements. Whether your quiet faithfulness counted when others seemed to receive more from less. Today I reveal what heaven calculated from your consistency. Every meal shared from limited cupboards multiplied in spiritual accounting. Every hour given when exhaustion called you toward rest earned compound interest in eternity's economy. Every kind word spoken when harshness would have satisfied frustration planted seeds now breaking through concrete circumstances with undeniable force. Financial rivers flow toward you through streams you never dug. Unexpected refunds arrive for overcharges long forgotten. Settlements favor your case without lengthy battles. Inheritances emerge from connections you barely remembered. Side endeavors generate income exceeding primary employment through exposure you never engineered. Debt cancellation programs you never applied for mysteriously approve your accounts for full forgiveness. Pause. Your creative gifts are finding platforms that amplify your voice to multitudes who have been waiting, without knowing they were waiting, for exactly what you carry. The art you create, whether words or images or music or craft, carries healing frequencies that bypass mental defenses and touch wounded hearts at levels where logic cannot reach. What you thought was hobby reveals itself as holy assignment, unique expression of divine nature flowing through your particular lens into a world desperate for authentic beauty. Fear of failure dissolves as holy boldness rises within you like tide responding to moon's ancient call. My sword guards your steps as you venture into territories that once terrified you. My shield covers vulnerabilities you've hidden from others but never could hide from me. Your comfort zone expands with each obedient step until what once seemed impossible becomes familiar ground conquered through consistent courage. Pause. My precious one, heaven has observed how you maintained worship when circumstances screamed abandonment. How you lifted praise from prison cells of financial lack, relational pain, and health battles that seemed determined to break your spirit. Your sacrifice of thanksgiving when you had every earthly reason to complain created legal precedent in spiritual courts that now releases recompense beyond what you lost. Divine turnaround activates in areas where delay taught you to lower expectations and adjust dreams downward. Heaven stored your original vision, untouched by time's erosion in eternity's vaults, waiting for this moment when your character had been refined to steward what would have destroyed you earlier. Now preparation meets opportunity, and the collision creates explosion of breakthrough that touches every area of your life simultaneously. Pause. Marriages experience rekindled intimacy as forgiveness dissolves bitter roots and communication deepens beyond surface exchange into soul unity. Patterns of conflict transform into rhythms of cooperation as grace rewrites relational dynamics that seemed permanent. Where disconnect had become normal, connection now surprises with its natural flow. Where distance had protected from further hurt, closeness now offers healing presence that makes vulnerability feel safe again. Single hearts ready for partnership find divine alignment, approaching through ordinary circumstances that reveal extraordinary orchestration. Coffee shop encounters become first conversations that lead to covenant relationships. Work assignments place you alongside future life partners who recognize the same calling burning in your spirit. God's timing brings people together whose preparation has made them ready to build together what neither could construct alone. Pause. My faithful steward, I see how you managed small responsibilities with integrity when no one evaluated your performance and no recognition rewarded your excellence. Today I entrust greater influence where your voice shapes environments and your decisions affect multitudes. Not because you sought position, but because your character in hiddenness qualified you for visibility. Not because you grasped for power, but because your service in small things demonstrated trustworthiness for large things. Your influence expands beyond physical locations as messages you share reach exact audiences who needed your precise words in their particular situations. Social media posts travel to screens you never imagined through shares and algorithms that somehow prioritize your content without paid promotion. Platforms emerge offering opportunities to speak to communities who have been waiting for hope delivered in your specific voice. Pause. Feel that supernatural peace settling over your nervous system like weighted blanket calming restless child. That is heaven's frequency overriding earth's static, replacing anxiety's constant hum with silence so sweet it surprises you with its presence. Your thoughts are clearing of clutter that accumulated through information overload and decision fatigue. What matters emerges from what merely demands attention. Priority reveals itself without struggle as divine guidance illuminates each step with just enough light for the moment. Your emotional landscape is being healed of wounds you stopped noticing because living around them became normal. Rejection's sting loses its power as identity truth settles deep in your spirit. Shame releases its grip on memories you tried to bury but never fully escaped. Trauma patterns encoded in your nervous system begin rewiring as peace teaches your body new responses to old triggers. Pause. My courageous warrior, your past does not define your future except as testimony of grace powerful enough to transform what should have destroyed you into foundation for what will distinguish you. Every failure that taught humility, every loss that developed compassion, every betrayal that refined discernment, every disappointment that strengthened resolve now serves as qualification for ministry that only wounded healers can offer. Your pain becomes prophetic platform as you comfort others with the same comfort heaven poured into your wounds. Stories you thought disqualified you become credentials that open doors education alone could never unlock. Vulnerably shared struggle becomes bridge that carries others across chasms they feared crossing alone. What you survived equips you to help others survive. What you overcame empowers you to help others overcome.
Pause. I know the midnight hours when sleep fled and worry circled like vultures over carcasses of hope. When morning felt like burden rather than blessing and each day required courage just to begin. Those seasons are ending. Not because circumstances magically changed but because your perspective has been transformed by encounters with my presence that reminded you who holds tomorrow. Joy returns in unexpected moments, bubbling up without explanation while doing ordinary tasks that used to feel like drudgery. Laughter comes easier as lightness replaces heaviness that weighted your spirit through difficult seasons. Gratitude flows naturally as eyes adjust to see blessing hidden in plain sight that busyness and worry had prevented you from noticing. Pause. My beloved child, angels are being dispatched to minister to specific situations you have carried in prayer. Legal matters shift as evidence surfaces clearing accusations that threatened your reputation. Medical tests return with results that confound physicians trained to expect different outcomes. Family dynamics transform as hearts soften and stubbornness surrenders to grace working in hidden depths. Financial institutions find themselves compelled to offer terms that favor your restoration without understanding why normal policies seem not to apply to your case. Employers discover unusual generosity flowing toward your compensation without recognizing the divine hand influencing their decisions. Clients and customers feel drawn to your services through reputation spread by voices you never heard speaking on your behalf. Pause. Your body temple is being renovated by resurrection power that raised Christ from death. Cellular memory is being overwritten with original design that predates damage caused by stress, toxins, and time. Organs remember their function without the dysfunction that disease introduced. Immune systems strengthen to levels that make vulnerability to common illness increasingly rare. Chronic pain loosens its grip as nerve pathways heal and inflammation subsides. Sleep becomes restorative rather than restless as your spirit receives peace that passes understanding. Dreams carry messages and solutions as heaven downloads wisdom during hours when your conscious mind rests. Waking brings energy rather than exhaustion as vitality marks your mornings with anticipation instead of dread. Pause. My precious intercessor, the seeds you planted in barren ground during seasons when harvests seemed impossible are breaking through surface soil with shoots that will become forests. Every tithe given from lack rather than abundance. Every offering released when budget screamed for keeping. Every kindness extended when receiving nothing in return seemed foolish. All of it was recorded in ledgers that calculate interest rates beyond earthly comprehension. Financial harvest arrives through channels so unexpected you cannot claim credit or explain origin. Resources materialize precisely when needed without excess that would create new problems. Provision matches assignment as income aligns with calling, enabling focus on purpose rather than survival. Generosity becomes possible at levels that previously existed only in imagination as abundance replaces scarcity in your financial experience. Pause. Relationships that withered through neglect during seasons when survival consumed all available energy begin reviving as capacity for connection returns. Friendships deepen through conversations that move beyond surface pleasantries into authentic exchange. Family bonds strengthen as grace rewrites history and forgiveness releases future from the grip of past hurt. Divine appointments multiply in ordinary spaces as heaven orchestrates encounters with people carrying pieces of your puzzle. Mentors appear offering wisdom for specific challenges you face. Partners emerge with complementary gifts that complete capabilities you lack alone. Supporters rise to champion causes you carry, adding their voices to amplify yours, their resources to multiply yours, their networks to expand yours. Pause. My faithful follower, your workplace is being transformed into territory where kingdom values manifest through your presence. Atmospheres shift when you enter rooms as light you carry dispels darkness that accumulated before your arrival. Co-workers find themselves drawn to qualities they cannot name but instinctively trust. Supervisors recognize value that transcends job description without understanding the spiritual source of what they observe. Promotions position you strategically where your influence shapes culture and your decisions affect many. Not through political maneuvering but through excellence that speaks louder than self-promotion. Not through demanding recognition but through service that naturally rises to visibility. Your career becomes ministry as work transforms from mere earning into meaningful contribution that matters beyond paycheck. Pause. Feel that stirring of hope that refuses to be silenced despite past disappointments that taught you to keep expectations low. That is faith rising like phoenix from ashes of destroyed dreams. That is courage returning to heart that learned to protect itself through resignation. That is your spirit remembering what your mind forgot during seasons of survival when imagination became luxury you could not afford. Your dreams are being resurrected with urgency that demands attention. Visions shelved during wilderness seasons return with clarity sharper than before. Purpose that faded under pressures of daily demands reasserts itself with force that will not be ignored. Your life is being called back to assignment that circumstances convinced you to abandon. Pause. My courageous heart, I know the fear that whispers you have missed your moment. That opportunity passed while you were occupied elsewhere. That doors once open have permanently closed. I declare those whispers lies spoken by enemies of your destiny who recognize the threat your fulfilled purpose poses to their dominion. Your moment is now. Not despite the delays but because of the preparation they accomplished. Not in spite of the setbacks but through the strengthening they provided. Not regardless of the failures but utilizing the wisdom they taught. Every detour became training ground. Every disappointment became development opportunity. Every closed door became redirection toward better doors that timing has now made ready. Pause. Angelic activity intensifies around your situation as heaven responds to your agreement with divine promises. Warriors take positions against principalities that have contested territory belonging to your assignment. Messengers carry revelation that will arrive through scripture suddenly illuminated, through words spoken by strangers who have no idea they are being used, through dreams that carry clarity normally reserved for prophets. Miracles move from possibility to probability as your expectation aligns with heaven's intention. What once seemed too good to be true becomes simply true as limitation gives way to supernatural provision. Healing accelerates. Provision multiplies. Doors open. Relationships restore. Everything that was stuck begins moving with momentum that builds rather than diminishes. Pause. My beloved warrior, your tears have been stored in sacred vessels marked for transformation. Every cry of frustration. Every groan of exhaustion. Every whisper of desperate prayer. All of it collected and consecrated and now being alchemized into fuel for breakthrough fires that consume what was and create space for what will be. Your suffering has not been wasted. Your waiting has not been pointless. Your faithfulness has not been overlooked. Today begins the visible manifestation of invisible work that has been proceeding in realms beyond your perception. Today you begin seeing what heaven has been preparing while you prayed and wondered if anyone was listening. Pause. Financial abundance flows toward you like rivers finding their natural course to the sea. Not for hoarding but for stewarding. Not for selfish consumption but for kingdom distribution. Not to make you comfortable but to make you capable of blessing others at levels that previously existed only in generous imagination. You become channel through which divine provision reaches those your life touches. Debt dissolves through mechanisms that surprise accountants and defy normal financial processes. Credit scores rebuild at rates that confound reporting systems. Assets appreciate beyond market trends. Income streams diversify through opportunities that arrive without your seeking. Your financial position strengthens until lack becomes distant memory and abundance becomes present reality. Pause. My precious child, your home becomes haven where heaven's presence is so tangible that guests feel shift in atmosphere as they cross your threshold. Peace permeates rooms where anxiety once paced. Joy fills spaces where sadness once lingered. Love saturates environment where conflict once dominated. Family relationships heal as divine grace flows through interactions that previously sparked frustration. Children find security that anchors their identity in belonging that cannot be shaken. Spouses experience renewal that makes marriage feel like the gift it was always meant to be. Generations connect with healthy patterns replacing destructive cycles that plagued your lineage. Pause. Your influence expands beyond anything you pursued or engineered. Platforms emerge that amplify your voice to audiences you never sought to reach. Opportunities arise that position your gifts before communities hungry for what you uniquely carry. Doors open into rooms where your presence shifts dynamics and your contribution matters at scales that humble and challenge you simultaneously. Fear of inadequacy dissolves as recognition dawns that you were never asked to be enough on your own. Divine empowerment supplements human limitation. Supernatural enablement compensates for natural deficiency. You discover that weakness becomes opening through which strength flows, that lack becomes space into which abundance pours. Pause. My faithful steward, heaven celebrates your hidden obedience while earth begins recognizing what angels always knew. Your character qualifies you for positions your resume could never secure. Your integrity opens doors that networking could never unlock. Your faithfulness in small things has prepared you for stewardship of great things that now approaches with divine momentum. Promotion arrives not through self-promotion but through reputation that precedes you. Advancement occurs not through political maneuvering but through excellence that speaks for itself. Recognition finds you not because you sought spotlight but because light in you cannot be hidden when destiny's hour strikes. Pause. Feel that deep knowing settling into your spirit like anchor finding solid ground after storm-tossed searching. That is certainty that transcends circumstance. That is confidence that does not depend on evidence. That is faith coming alive with vitality that transforms how you face each day and approach each challenge. Your destiny is activating. Not someday. Not eventually. Right now. In this moment. Through this encounter. As you receive these words, the shift is occurring. The breakthrough is manifesting. The transformation is underway. Pay attention. What you are experiencing is divine intersection that will mark your life with before and after distinctions that future testimonies will reference. Pause. I am with you. Not distant deity watching from heaven's heights, but intimate presence walking beside you through every valley and climbing with you over every mountain. My hand guides through confusion. My voice whispers through noise. My strength sustains through exhaustion. My love holds through every circumstance that tries to shake your confidence in my commitment to your flourishing. Rise now into the fullness of who I created you to be. Step forward into the future I prepared before you were born. Embrace the destiny that has been waiting for you to believe it was possible. Your time is now. Your moment has arrived. Your breakthrough is here. Pay attention. Everything is changing. Everything is aligning. Everything is working together for your good. Pause. And so it is. And so it begins. And so you go forward marked by heaven's favor, guarded by angelic presence, guided by divine wisdom, empowered by supernatural strength. Your destiny activates now. Your breakthrough manifests now. Your transformation begins now. Receive it. Believe it. Walk in it. From this day forward, nothing will ever be the same. Heaven celebrates your courage in receiving these words and your faith in believing what they declare. Angels rejoice at your agreement with divine purpose. The cloud of witnesses cheers your decision to rise into assignment that has waited for this moment of alignment. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And everything you need for the journey ahead has already been provided. Pause. Go forward now, my beloved child, carrying the certainty that your destiny is not just approaching but actively unfolding. Every step you take is ordered. Every breath you breathe is blessed. Every moment you experience is marked by heaven's attention and guided by divine intention. Your best days are not behind you. They are being birthed before you. Pay attention. Your destiny is activating right now.